Hi there, this is Dr. Russell Zwanka, and this is Module 2 of Cannabis Marketing Certification, powered by Learning Evolution. So we left off the last module talking about THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, and its delta 9 that we were talking about. So we sometimes call this hemp's twin separated at birth. First, let's get a little something straight. It's common to refer to THC as the psychoactive part of the cannabis plant. Please, let's clarify. It's intoxicating. Psychoactive is defined as a drug or other substance that affects how the brain works and causes changes in mood, awareness, thoughts, feelings, or behavior. Well, examples of psychoactive substances can include alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, marijuana, and certain pain medicines. Many illegal drugs such as heroin, LSD, cocaine, and amphetamines are also psychoactive substances. So please, let's stop calling it psychoactive. Let's call it intoxicating. All cannabinoids from the cannabis plant, of which CBD and THC are two of them, impact mood and awareness. THC has the ability to give you an intoxicating feeling, also known as the high, and CBD can calm anxiety. Both impacts are psychoactive. Drinking a Red Bull can be psychoactive. Little known fact, cannabis plants are actually found in the wild. You can find cannabis plants growing wild in eastern Russia, western China, as well as other parts of Central Asia. Wild plants, well, are not quite as strong enough for users of THC. They are lacking in cannabinol, CBN, and THC, so we developed a way to increase those levels. In defense of those who figured out how to increase and decrease cannabinoid levels, CBN, CBD, THC, CBG, we're going to talk about all of them, the plant has been used for years to control or offset pain, inflammation, nausea, and etc. It wasn't just to get high. Take the high part out of the equation and think in terms of medicinal purposes. The challenge for mankind has always been to find cures for our various health issues. Our bodies are great little machines for warding off viruses, bacteria, diseases, and when in equilibrium, our bodies are pretty awesome, but our bodies need to maintain equilibrium. We also call that homeostasis, with our endocannabinoid system maintaining homeostasis. These same substances found in the cannabis plant, cannabinoids, are biologically produced in our bodies. Endocannabinoids are produced in our bodies. Phytocannabinoids come from the cannabis plant. Our body is set up to protect us, but things go wrong. Our bodies can't fight off everything. Most illnesses and diseases involve pain, whether it's chronic inflammation, short-term pain, or even pain from bumping your head. The body needs help covering the pain. Remember, our bodies are made for fight or flight, and covering pain is one way our body allows us to fight or get the heck out of there. Finding mind-altering substances to mask pain has been a goal the entire time man has existed. It just happens that some of these substances can be addictive and impact our bodies in unique ways. So here is where the road splits. Are you starting to see why CBD and THC are inseparable? Can you also start to see why cannabis can be lumped in with the coca and the opium poppy? For one thing, they've all been used by doctors to help control or cover pain in patients. Morphine drips in hospitals, cocaine in certain surgeries, cannabis in certain treatments, all useful for original intended purposes, all at varying addictive levels. And then when life just kind of sucks, sometimes going into another world, going into your own head with mind-altering substances is a choice made by many. Unfortunately, that choice can then become an addiction. Romanticize it and you can call it going inside your own head, a common phrase today. But both cannabis and opioids are effective in pain management, but while cannabis has never been linked to a death by lethal dosage, more than 3 out of 5 drug overdose deaths involve an opioid. Add the legal availability of opioids through doctors and the illegal availability of cannabis, and cannabis has gotten a bad rap here. In fact, the makers of synthetic opioids have openly lobbied against cannabis. So let's switch over to CBD again. So CBD, it seems, is being touted by many as something that pretty much cures everything. Unfortunately, when claims of curing everything are offered to the public, there is a natural inclination to believe there is very little truth to any of the claims. In the meantime, we have this inevitable crossover of people trying CBD and THC, and we need to add THC into the equation. Why? Because for many people, THC never left the discussion. I would state, for the record, focus in on only CBD and the race will pass you. You cannot solely research CBD and not take in THC, CBN, CBG, and the rest of the cannabinoids. Call it the entourage effect. Let's talk about the connections. So THC has made a remarkable resurgence in popularity in the last few years, as the war on drugs is actually trying to distinguish between LSD and opium versus THC. The legalization of THC across the country and the world seems like an unstoppable wave. Starts with decriminalization, goes on to legalization for medical marijuana, then to legalize recreational marijuana, and then we keep going from there. At this point, the United States is at half. Roughly 25% of the states have legalized recreational marijuana. In fact, the only aspect of the THC business trending down is medical marijuana. It's a direct correlation to legalizing recreational marijuana, so requests for medical cards are way down. There's no need. The popularity of THC is off the charts. Go stand outside a dispensary and watch the traffic flow. These places are crazy busy. The growth is staggering. By 2025, it is projected there will be $23 billion in marijuana sales in the United States alone, led by, you guessed it, California. There are roughly 28,000 legal marijuana businesses in the U.S., with the majority of investment and growth occurring in 2016. The result of opening all these shops is double-edged. Customers are seeing prices deflating everywhere, especially here in Michigan. Deflation is great for the consumer, terrible for the operator. It's going to be okay. At some point, we'll level out and everything will be okay. Let's talk about quickly. Let's talk about the distribution of sales. So flower and plant make up 47% of the sales. Concentrates and vapes, 23%. Edibles, 11%. Almost 100% of those edibles are in the form of gummies. Pre-roll, 8.5%. Oils, extracts, and tinctures, 8%. And topicals, 0.7%. Versus other substitutable type items, marijuana is roughly half that of alcohol, has exceeded tobacco, and is a third of the sales of painkillers. Why are people buying it? 55% are buying recreational marijuana to relax. 40% are using it to relieve stress or for social reasons. And 30% are using it for anxiety or improving sleep. Almost all marijuana consumers see it as less dangerous than meth, heroin, cocaine, LSD, ecstasy, and opioids. One other study backed previous studies with some additional findings. 60% of the respondents using CBD and THC for chronic pain, and 34% are using it for migraine pain. Most common delivery method in this study was vaping at 41%, topical 32%, and tincture at 31%. And edibles and capsules were not far behind at 27% and 26%. Most consumers in the study responded they were using THC and CBD because it was not as addictive and had fewer side effects than other drugs. CBD does tend to skew a little bit more towards the older population. This is a population that can afford it, and also it's a population that probably seeks out solutions for insomnia. So, is it legal? Well, CBD is legal nationally, and then states get to determine if it's illegal. THC is illegal nationally, and the states get to choose if they want to legalize it. There are 5 different combinations of legality: completely legal, medically legal and decriminalized, medically legal only, decriminalized only, or totally illegal. Yes, decriminalized means exactly that. It's not legal, it's just not criminal. And who's buying it? According to one survey, 22% of those between 18 and 29 are using marijuana, 11% of those between 30 and 49 are using it, 12% between 50 and 64, and those over 65 are at 3%. And in the next module, we will be talking about culture.